Hello, beautiful people of the internet. Welcome back to
No.
the Games and Culture Podcast. This is episode 23.
Four, I think. I think it's 24.
Oh, somebody has to fact check. I had it for like 2 episodes where I knew the episode number, and then I lost it. It's 23, 24. I'm pretty sure it's 23, though. I feel like last episode was 22. But,
Oh, well.
anyways,
The last
back
episode of the year.
last episode of the year, last episode of 2024. Yes, we will not be recording another one before the jump over to 2025. Not to say that we're going to stop making episodes, just not this year. We are. I guess we can get kind of housekeeping out of the way first here. We've kind of set a tentative date for kind of our schedule for January, basically. As we did this year, we will do a 2024 retrospective on both news and then our game of the years. So I think we agreed that February 2nd would be our game of the year video. So 2 weeks prior to that will be our 2024 news roundup, kind of looking back at the year as a whole.
Yeah,
We do
tentatively.
this so that we have
Okay.
time to finish some of the games.
We also have a D&D group we're both a part of and trying to do this with that, trying to schedule all that stuff.
Yes. So tentative date would be February 2nd for our game of the year episode. You can go check out last year's, 2023's episode. I'll put a link for it somewhere up there. But yeah, we go through top 10 games of the year and have a lively discussion about those. So that will happen on February 2nd. So in between then, so 2 weeks prior to February 2nd, we will do the 2024 news retrospective, kind of just look at the state of the world in video games. We're probably going to be talking a lot about layoffs that episode. So if you're a fan of layoffs, this is the episode for you. But so our next episode after this one will just be a normal news one as we get into all of the retrospective stuff of the year. So, full transparency, the metaphor review is never happening.
I, I I'm no longer bound between Dragon Age and Metaphor. I decided to dedicate everything to one game. Metaphor is what I'm focusing on. So I'm moving along now. There's actual momentum now.
For those keeping track at home, I finished Dragon Age this week.
This is revenge for Paper Mario.
So
I'm
it's
sorry.
gonna be a while. So yes, you're like, how many hours are you in Metaphor now?
45, 50, something like that. 50, I think.
There's no way. There's no way. Where you are, there's no way. Because it took me 80 hours ish to finish the game.
Uh,
So you're probably in like the 30-hour area.
It's possible. The timer says 50. I wouldn't doubt it just because there's things come up. I had to pause the game and walk away, and just
Yeah.
that time added up.
Yeah. But so we will do a review on Metaphor and Dragon Age at some point. It's gonna look really weird to do a Dragon Age Veilguard review in February, but if that's what we gotta do, baby, that's what we gotta do.
Hey, it's Christmas week this week. Maybe I have time. I'm not being forced into overtime now.
Fair. Let's see if
Who
we can
knows?
crank one out.
Let's go.
So we all know what you're playing, but something that has also distracted you from playing the two games that we actually need to play.
To be fair, I only played Clive for Tekken 8 for like an hour, if that. And I'm being generous. It may have been like 30, 45 minutes. That wasn't that long. But they did a really good job. Like I don't recall. I didn't play Tekken 7 a whole lot. I don't recall if Noctis had his own stage, but Clive has his own stage, and they did really cool with it and all his mechanics. I mean, the guys, everyone kickboxed in this game, and he's here with a sword and superpowers, lightning wind, all that crap. They gave him a meter for for one of the uh, summons he has. I forget the name of it, but they gave him a summon meter thing, so he builds up and he can discharge it all at once for a shit ton of damage. Torgal helps him fight. So
Excellent. Yes. Best boy in all of gaming.
some of the and Ben Starr just delivers again as Clive.
Yeah.
Some of his intros are just like his best one is with Reina of all people, which is who my main is. The intro starts and she's like, I like your cosplay. It's very good. And he just responds, "What the hell is cosplay?"
I'm the real Clive, bitch.
um, but the stage it's super impressive. How they do it is one. So all your stages you have the intro, the two characters talking to each other.
Mm.
Not on the Final Fantasy stage. Stage always starts with the Ifrit and the Phoenix fighting each other, and your two characters kind of watching the background as they like, oh god. But you start in the Seagate castle
Mhm.
at the beginning of the game. That's where you start. So Tekken's a little weird. Unlike other fighting games, which are win 2 out of 3 rounds, Tekken 8 is 3 out of 5 rounds. Once someone gets to match point, the Ifrit in Phoenix's fight explodes, and a giant explosion happens, and you both fighters wake up in the place where Clive, accepts the truth.
Yeah.
But and the music changes too because when you're in this Seagate area, it's playing like the normal like battle music.
Mhm.
When you go to that area, it's playing Find Your Flame. Um,
Jesus.
and as the characters are getting up from the explosion, about to fight again, you see the two Ifrits in the background, and right as their fists connect and makes that explosion, it says fight.
So they understood the assignment, is what you're
They
telling
they
me.
understood everything. They understood how epic Final Fantasy 16 is, and they delivered.
Shout out to Final Fantasy 16. It made both of our top games of 2023. That game is so underrated. I don't know why people love to hate on it so much, but like Ben Starr's performance as Clive, fucking legendary. I think I can safely say it's one of my favorite performances of an actor. Like Yuri Lowenthal as Spider-Man, probably as Ben Starr's Clive right underneath that. Um, so good, so freaking good.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
it's my favorite Final Fantasy. I mean, I haven't said so before. I haven't played as
grain of
many as you
salt.
have. Yeah,
Yeah,
grain of salt, but still, of the ones I've played, is my favorite.
yeah. Shout outs to. I think we should also start this slide aside, but I think we should also start nominating a most underrated game of the year when we talk about our game of the years, because I feel like last year with Final Fantasy 16, people just hate on it for no reason, and it kind of flew under the radar of how just spectacularly good it is. But I feel the same way about Dragon Age: The Veilguard this year. People kind of it got a few bad reviews, and then people kind of just wrote it off completely. When it is a really good game, like it is a really good game. I don't get me wrong. I think it has issues. It's not a perfect game. I can confidently say it's not going to win my game of the year this year, but will it crack my top 5? I think so. I think it's got really good mechanics. I think it's got really good storytelling. I just think it got a bad rap for some bad reviews, and then people just like completely wrote it off. So,
No, agreed.
shouts to Dragon Age Veilguard. I finished it this week. It's fantastic. Um, this is not a spoiler because all BioWare games that are the same. At the end, you make some decisions. I chose some wrong decisions. I killed off my lover by accident. I killed off my
Ow!
I killed off my lover by having faith in them. And I'm keeping it vague because
Oh,
I don't want to reveal who it is until you finish the game and we can talk
I
about
did.
the romance
I did.
options.
I didn't think that was gonna be a possibility, but okay, now I'm scared. Okay,
Yeah, I
because the
mean,
way the game has been so far, I'm just like, okay, they are. I felt like, okay, there's some safe playing here. Apparently not. Like, no, no,
no,
no.
no.
You're safe.
It took me back right to the ending of Mass Effect 2, where shit's
Oh
hitting the
god.
fan, and you got to point the forces in different ways, and I pointed the forces in one way, and I fucked up.
There were moments in this the little play of going. This like I was getting Mass Effect 2 vibes, like the fact that slight spoiler if you haven't played it, shit goes down and like you got everyone like we need to take care of our own business real quick so we can focus on the mission at hand. Like it's a loyalty mission for Mass Effect 2. I'm like,
Yep.
so we're kind of doing the same ball game again.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, and for reference, I did all of the loyalty missions for everybody, maxed them out. I did every side quest in the entire game. and so that impacts the ending of the story as well, which is super cool. I think the skill up video mentioned that some of your choices really don't like have consequences, but I think that that's not necessarily true because the choices of how you're spending your time, because you could go right to the end if you wanted to, but you would be at a disadvantage for doing so. And so I feel like that choice does carry weight, aside from just making the choice of who lives, who dies kind of thing. But yeah, no, in the greatest disappointment of this week, I killed off my lover and was like, fuck, now I don't get to fuck.
Priorities, I guess.
Prior like there's two other castmates that kind of like get together and you kind of experience their story a little bit, and I'm just like, I didn't get that because I chose to believe in my lover. That they could handle this assignment and they were objectively the best person for it. Fuck.
Was it like Jacob saying he could go through the vent in the suicide mission? And mess with you? Like when
No, it wasn't that bad.
okay,
It
'cause
was
I
like
remember that
a
was the thing.
it was like
I
a
was
we
laughing.
have to go do this thing.
Uh-huh.
I'm better at this because I know the lay of the land, or I'm better at this because I have led people. And I'm like, okay, you know the lay of the land. I think that's probably better. And then no.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. I just remember that in that moment, that game was like, dog, you haven't done anything tech wise up to this point. What the fuck you mean you're doing this? No, I'm sending the robot. He can hack anything.
But yes, so yeah, I finished Dragon Age this week, and that was really really good. So aside from playing Marvel Rivals and Overwatch 2, Overwatch started the 6v6 playtest this week.
Oh, they have. I was wondering. I saw you play that.
Yes.
What are they doing? The min
Yes.
max 3 thing?
No, it's the 2v2, it's the 2-2-2 roll lock this time.
Okay.
The
Okay.
next one is the 5v5 1-2-3 thing where you have to have one of everybody but no more than 3. So right now it's the 2-2-2, and it has been just wonderful. It's been wonderful. Um, they kind of nerf some of the characters and buff some of the characters to bring them back in line with like 6v6. Um, something
So
that
the
I
con
something that totally went under my radar. Zarya's OP as fuck right now because she has another tank to help her charge up.
we have the main tank off tank thing going again.
Yes, yes. Although I will say I think it's more prevalent to see two off tanks these days just because of the characters that have been introduced. So the newest character, Hazard, is a guy that can shoot spikes of like this like ferro metal type thing. It's like a liquid metal, so he shoots spikes. That's his thing. And so his ultimate is he shoots out like a wave of spikes that's like essentially stuns anybody that's hit by it. And so in the coolest thing that took me immediately back to Overwatch 1, tank synergy ultimates, Hazard ults, and it's like a 5-man ultimate. People are stuck. The enemy Sigma swoops in and ults everybody, and then like mass kills everybody. And it's like, yep, that's Overwatch to me, baby. Synergies, actually having to worry about your team comp, stuff like that. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. Some of the new characters that I haven't played yet legitimately are pretty fun. There's a new healer. Her name is Juno. She's like a really fast-paced, like run and gun healer, which is an archetype that really hasn't been done since Lucio. Except she does it in a little bit different of a way. And some of the new tanks are cool. So it's been fun to kind of get back to Overwatch's basics. So we'll see. I have the sinking suspicion because it's Blizzard that even though this test it will be successful, they won't hit some arbitrary target that they're trying to hit, and so 5v5 will stay, even though 6v6 is legitimately a bit more fun.
I mean, that's kind of why Marvel Rivals is eating its lunch right now.
Yes, yeah, and I also Marvel Rivals. So Marvel Rivals releasing to kind of put a nail into Overwatch's coffin takes me back to 2016, where Overwatch released to put a nail in Battleborn's coffin. um, because I mean, Marvel Rivals is just doing so well. I guess we'll just talk about that first since we're talking about it. In 10 days since its release, Marvel Rivals has hit 20 million players. A unprecedented success. obviously it's free to play, obviously helping that number count up, but 20 million, that's not just people trying it out. That's people trying it out, having such a good time that they're telling their friends to play it, and then are getting on and playing with their friends. So as a thank you, the dev team is giving out a 20 million rivals spray featuring Galacta on it, which is super cool. It's really nice that they're doing a kind of like free giveaway for just for success's stakes. But yeah, no, it's crazy how well it's doing. The winter event just started literally yesterday. You can get a free Jeff skin for playing the new Jeff mode, which is basically Splatoon on PC.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just unprecedented success. I mean, right now, time of recording, 368,000 players on Steam right now.
2 episodes ago, you said it was at 460, so that's not that far off. It was
Yeah,
2 weeks
no,
ago.
it's balancing out. Looking at Steam DB, it hit its all-time peak 13 days ago at 480, almost 481,000 players, and so yeah, it's leveling off a little bit as people
Sure.
as the newness has kind of worn off a little bit, but
Sure,
uh,
but that's a slow descent it's making.
well, I think it's consistency over anything.
Right.
Like,
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, from where if it that it didn't just nosedive, like it's not living up to 200,000. Like, it's only at 380. That's still pretty close to
yeah,
where it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
So, which is impressive. I mean, that's just Steam. How many people are playing on PlayStation? How many people are playing on Xbox, or even the Epic Store? Um, so I
I mean, a
mean,
shit ton. I mean, you and I have been playing this. We plan to do a review for it, since we both played a fair amount of it. I mean, usually, pretty much in almost every one of our lobbies, we see a mixture of all three platforms: PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. So, uh, it is definitely super successful. Um, Looking at some store data, it's number 9 in top sellers right now. So pretty solid there. I mean, it's a huge percentage of people are playing it right now. It's just super good. It's super good. We got a couple new hero leaks this week, featuring Thing and Human Torch. So they might be the next two that are added, maybe.
we
Uh,
also got
uh,
a leak for Ultron, like his
yes,
entire kit.
his kit leaked. He's going to be a strategist or a healer. He's going to use drones to heal, which is pretty cool. He looks
Like that.
pretty broken just reading the kit, so that's pretty exciting. But yeah, I mean, I've had a ton of fun with Marvel Rivals. I think, if you want like a more fast paced, so I actually had a conversation with a good friend of mine this week about Marvel Rivals versus Overwatch, and I think they're both gonna settle. I don't think Overwatch. I don't think Marvel Rivals is gonna kill Overwatch.
No, I mean, there are jokes about it, but ultimately, I don't think I think Overwatch has enough institution in it to
Yeah,
withstand. I mean, it's gonna take a hit from this. There's no way. It got a black eye, but it won't go away.
yeah.
It's too. Yeah.
I think what will happen is there will settle into two different camps, and the games will coexist together. I think if you want a more structured experience, I think you play Overwatch. I think Overwatch is going to be better for ranked play overall, and I think just its structure of its game will lend itself to be a game that plays a little bit more by the rules, if that makes sense. I think, and so if that's something that you want out of your game, you'll play Overwatch. And I think for those that maybe aren't going to take this as seriously, or maybe want a looser, more free form experience, you're going to gravitate towards Marvel Rivals. They've already said they don't have any plans to do roll lock anytime soon, which at first I wanted it just because of my sheer annoyance. But then once I turned my Overwatch brain off, I was like, no, I don't want roll lock because I want crazier and wacky team up abilities, and the only way to do that is by not having roll lock, because the team up abilities and the destructible environments are the two things that set this game apart from other hero shooters, and so they need to lean
Yeah.
into those as much as possible.
The
um
the
and
only
so
thing I
yeah,
would say with roll is a roll lock. I mean, I kind of would lean towards agree with you. I kind of rather would not have that's why I'm really interested in the Overwatch thing they're gonna do, the min one max 3 thing. That's probably what I would prefer to have, if anything. I really like the sound of that on paper. So I'm really curious how Overwatch is testing that's gonna go. If Marvel Rivals were to ever, if that works, and if Marvel Rivals ever do a roguelike system, I would want them to do something like that because that
Yeah,
sounds ideal.
it kind of is the best of both worlds. You kind of have structure without having like rigid structure. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've kind of cooled off on that a little bit. I would accept that, but I want crazier, wackier team ups.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, and I really hope that experiment with Overwatch is gonna do works. Even if Overwatch doesn't go with it, they could go to the 2-2-2 system. If Marvel should just steal it, then okay, I'll take that. Then that fits Marvel's tone better, maybe. And I agree with you, because I mean, yeah, no one wants to deal with 6 duelists on their team,
Yeah,
5 duelists. So maybe hey, one person has got to be in each class. But I think there's totally. But yeah, no, I think Marvel is better for not having role lock. As you said, Overwatch, I think has kind of moved itself into more of that professional esport type of environment. Marvel may have an esport, but yeah, no, it's moniker and being Marvel, it's gonna be more casual focused. So yeah, I think that is a better call
yeah,
for it just to not do that.
yeah. So that's where I think they'll land. I just really like a lot of the stuff that Marvel Rivals doing. The fact that you buy a battle pass, you can finish it anytime. I bought
Mhm.
the season's battle pass. I've already finished it because I played it a decent amount. So that's been fun. I really like the fact these destructible environments are so much fun. Not
Oh
only
yeah,
does it lend itself to being really kind of like comic book oriented because like these big battles happen, destruction happens and stuff, but and it kind of helps make these characters feel larger than life. But even further than that, uh, the strategic elements of it are really cool. Like taking down support columns to bring down like a roof thing to block off an entrance into a point, or to stifle off Black Widow from like getting a perch. Like those kind of things are super fun. And I think that particular note kind of goes undersung for Marvel Rivals. But yeah, no, 20 million players, 10 days, crazy, absolutely crazy. Uh, Free to play right now. Go play it. We'll have a review, a comprehensive review, talking more about it maybe in the coming weeks. Maybe. Let's get into some big boy news. Let's talk money. Let's talk investments. Let's talk
cat.
averted averted hostile takeovers. A couple weeks ago we talked about how Sony was looking to purchase Kadokawa, the company that owns From Software, and it looks like they have taken a step simultaneously towards that but also away from that. It was reported this week that Sony has become the largest shareholder in Kadokawa, uh, but there's not been any full takeover yet. And so I'm looking at the IGN article discussing it. Sony has invested 50 billion yen, which is approximately $318 million, into Kadokawa, um, putting the brakes on a full takeover for now. With this investment, Sony has become the largest shareholder in Kadokawa with 10% of the company's shares. Chinese megacorp Tencent is next in line. It's the
I think
second
that
largest.
I think that 10% is like on top of what they already owned. From what I understand, I'm hearing mixed reports about that. Some are saying that they now own 10%, and some are saying it's 10% on top of they already owned. I don't know which confirmed it, but
Gotcha. This announcement of the announcement of the deal includes vague corporate speak about how the two companies plan to work together in the future, but there is a line about adapting Kadokawa's IP into live-action films and TV dramas globally, co-producing anime works, and further expanding the publishing of Kadokawa's games. Um, the line in particular has sparked speculation that Sony may help realize a live-action Elden Ring movie or TV series of some kind, but it's worth pointing out that much of Sony's interest in Kadokawa has to do with its anime business as opposed to the video game business. So, as we talked about a couple weeks ago, this is Sony taking over anime. This is Sony knowing the worth of the anime market right now, and trying to seize control over it after taking control of Funimation and Crunchyroll. They basically own anime at this point, and so this is just them finishing up the collection, so to speak. And
yeah,
getting From Software is a sick bonus.
Yeah. I'm not surprised it's kind of went the way it did. With since it got leaked, this whole thing, it probably put the brakes on everything because they just things like that aren't supposed to leak because of legal reasons. And the fact that it did, something was going to go off the rails. So this probably is the best case scenario. I don't think this is the end of the story, because there are some like laws apparently in Japanese like fishery laws that to initiate a buyout, you have to be the largest shareholder in the company first. Sony wasn't, now they are.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a stepping stone to get to that point. So I wonder, I'm curious, like they, because of the league, they kind of cooled jets on the full takeover. We're going to do this first. And they kind of said, let everything cool off real quick. And then, in some time, we'll come back to the issue of a full takeover.
Yeah. Sony boss Hiroki Totoki commented, "Through this capital and business alliance, we will become the largest shareholder of Kadokawa, which consistently produces a wide variety of IP, including publications and books, such as light novels and comics, as well as games and anime. By combining Kadokawa's extensive IP and IP creation ecosystem with the strengths of Sony, which has promoted the global expansion of a wide range of entertainment, including anime and games, we plan to work closely to realize Kadokawa's global media mix strategy aimed at maximizing the value of its IP and Sony's long-term vision, creative entertainment vision." Article goes on to say, last month, financial experts said that PlayStation maker Sony might have put off the deal due to the cost of having to acquire all of Kadokawa rather than its parts it was interested in. Um, Kadokawa was reportedly only interested in doing a deal with Sony if it bought the entire company. However, Sony was reportedly only interested in extracting assets related to anime and video games, which presumably would also include From Software. Buying all of Kadokawa would cost 640 billion yen, approximately $4.3 billion. Sony's cash for buyouts is apparently tight at the moment due to investments made elsewhere. Point of comparison: Sony bought Destiny developer Bungie for 3.7 billion, and that
That's
studio
overpaying.
has been a just a horror house for Sony.
That was a purchase they're probably regretting. Honestly, that's way overpaying for Bungie. Honestly,
Yeah,
but that's a different story. Um, as I said, I don't think this is the end of the story. Honestly, I think this is merely a stopgap. Because I mean, Sony and Kadokawa have been kind of doing this will they want they tango for a while apparently.
ooh,
Um,
I didn't know this.
but
Kadokawa also owns Spike Chunsoft,
yes,
as well as Octopath Traveler developer Acquire, and GotY Games.
yes, so Sony would own Danganronpa as well as Elden Ring.
Cool, dude. Cool, dude.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, I said I don't think this is the end of the story. Um, I think they'll get this. I think one day someone will own them. The way they keep doing this dance. This does hold off I think the Korean company was called Kako or something like that. That the one they were worried about.
Mm-hmm.
It does hold them off. I think I've heard that they are like withdrawing now and kind of selling off shares because they're not going to get what they want.
Yeah.
So this is the better alternative. I've seen some people like upset that Sony got more shares, and it's like it was either this or FromSoft becomes a gotcha company.
Yeah.
Like
I
this is
I think this move for Sony is kind of just like a have your cake and eat it too kind of moment. It kind of gets
mhm.
people off of Kadokawa and kind of gives them essentially control, sort of, kind of, but they don't have to invest all the money this year. Because I mean, closing down Firewalk, Concord
Go ahead.
was at least a $200 million loss. It was
Yeah.
definitely way more than that. Um, Plus all the struggles at Bungie and everything like that, and this being a lighter year for Sony, just in general. I know Astrobot did win Game of the Year for those that missed our Game Awards coverage, but like in terms of raw sales volume, this was a lighter year for Sony. I think Astrobot sold close to 2 million copies right now. Spider-Man did that in like 24 hours. So like sales volume wise, lighter year. They just had this monumentous flop with Concord. I think this kind of is kind of a have your cake eat it too, where they can invest, get some control, but they don't have to break their bank right now. They can wait till next year to do it.
Yeah, that's probably what they were doing. I said with that, with what you said, with the leaking and not want to deal with investigators. This is probably the safest bet right now. I said I don't think this is in the story.
No, no,
Um,
no.
but it is kind of a stopgap for now. And I think it is what Kadokawa wants. I mean, I do think this will help with since Sony wants more IP, like live action IP. I think a Dark Souls like or Bloodborne even TV show or movies on the way. I think that's gonna be like greenlit fairly certain.
But not that 60 FPS patch for Bloodborne. Hell
No.
no. Hell no.
I
We're
don't know
gonna have a
what's going.
whole Bloodborne universe, and not included in that is a PC port of Bloodborne. Hell no.
Or just a 60 FPS patch
I
for the
think I think
PS5 Pro.
honestly, Sony and FromSoft looked at Nintendo going, "Man, you have that great game Mother 3 that you're just kind of teasing people with. I want that too." And that's what Bloodborne is.
I need something to blue ball my fans with.
That's
Sorry,
just what
Bloodborne
Bloodborne is.
fans.
We all hope and wish for a Mother 3 port. It's never going to happen. We all wish for a Bloodborne Bloodborne PC release, or at least a 60 FPS patch. It's never going to happen. We all think that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is not coming out. Valve doesn't like the number 3. These are just things in the video game industry. It's just what it is, what it be, how it do. In other Sony news, PS5 Pro launched last month, or was it in October?
It was last month.
Okay, good.
November
I was
7th. Right.
You, a proud acquirer of a PS5 Pro, you know, people were kind of taken aback by its price tag and kind of its reason for existing as a whole, but it seems like that is not necessarily the case after in practical expectation. So sales data for November has came out, and PS5 Pros accounted for 19% of total PS5 sales in the US in the month of November. Looking at a PlayStation Lifestyle article here, in the month of November, 19% of PlayStation sold were PS5 Pros, which is awesome. And they were also 28% of total PlayStation's hardware dollars earned. So not too shabby. Video game industry analyst Matt Piscatella reported that launch month dollar sales of PS5 Pros were 50% higher than the November 2016 launch month sales of PlayStation 4 Pro, while units were 12% lower. Which makes sense because bigger price tag. I think this is an important note as well. November video game hardware spending was flat when compared to a year ago. So not really any change, no growth, but no fall. The 15% spending growth on PlayStation 5 hardware was offset by a 29% year-over-year drop in Xbox Series spending and a 3% decline in Switch. So that means when you look at those two things together, more people are buying PlayStation consoles than last year. So I'm going to go on a limb and say a lot of that has to do with people buying the PS5 Pro. And I want to say
not so unwanted now, is it?
Yeah. 19% is also better than the total, like I think it was 15% that the PS4 Pro's total lifespan percentage was. So PS5 Pro is already trending a little bit higher than that, which is good. What strikes me in that as well is that Xbox Series spending dropped 30% basically.
Yeah.
And the Switch only dropped 3%.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to highlight with those numbers. The first one with PlayStation, I mean, the growth is normal. again, it goes to show there's a lot of people, and I've said this before. There's things to criticize Sony about, but there's a Sony hate boner going around. People are acting like, who is this for? Well, clearly 19% of people who bought a PS5 last month bought the Pro. It is wanted. And Sony never expected this thing to be the primary driver of PS5. Of course they didn't. The PS4 was not. The PS4 was the primary driver, not PS4 Pro. Uh-oh. Whoop. Did you pause it?
My cat
Did you pause
was
it?
meowing. No, I didn't pause it. You just kept
Oh,
just keep talking.
Okay, I was confused. I'm like, what the heck?
No,
All right. Well, anyway.
I needed to let my cat into the room because he was freaking out at the door.
Anyway, the PS4 outsold the PS4 Pro. Like that percentage is normal. They had normal expectations for it. I'm not surprised it's a little less than the PS4 Pro's launch month. Is again the price. But this is doing fine. Like people thought the PlayStation Portal, even I thought the PlayStation Portal was gonna bomb. It didn't. So yeah, I've kind of learned to stop doubting hardware most of the time with Sony, unless it's the VR. Because there seems to be a very much a tone of what Sony's been going for, an Apple-esque tone to Sony, where people just want the new thing from them regarding PlayStations.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the DualSense Edge, I sold way better than I thought it was. So, I mean, this is proof in the pudding. And then with the Switch, a 3% decline, honestly, this late in the game.
It's crazy good.
That's crazy good. That's crazy good. That thing is on a walker, going,
yeah.
It's coughing up blood at this point.
Yes, and it's no industry secret that the next one's coming out soon.
Yeah,
which we'll get to in a little bit here later in the show. But like, it's no secret that the next one is on the way, and so only declining 3% year over year is crazy. Like, people just still love the Switch and its immense catalog of games.
And not only did it drop to 2%, it still came in second place in consoles sold. PlayStation 1, obviously, with being the newer system and having a brand new system with the Pro, but still second place in a 3-year race for this old.
Yeah,
that says a lot.
Yeah,
it also says a lot about the third place person.
Yeah, 30% drop year over year for Xbox is not great. It's not any kind of numbers that they want to see. Clearly, this is an Xbox really is taking hold of people because they're not buying Xboxes because they have 12.5 Xboxes allegedly at home.
I mean, apparently, according to them, I have 5 Xboxes already.
Yeah,
I have a Steam Deck, a PC, a Switch, a PlayStation 5 Pro, and my TV.
Yeah,
and my phone. That's 6. I have 6 Xboxes apparently.
I mean, they also just have had a pretty abysmal year. Hellblade does not have widespread appeal.
Never did.
It doesn't have widespread appeal. The Indiana Jones game, while being pretty good so far, I'm working on playing it. While reviewing well, it released in December. So that's after a lot of the big rush of the holidays. When December release dates have proven year after year that they do not work. People do not buy new games in December.
Unless you're Nintendo. Unless you're Nintendo at this point.
But they've only done it once.
Yeah, it was Smash Brothers.
Yeah, they only did it once, and they made sure to make it a fucking event.
Yeah. But, well, anyone would know, like, last month, this was November, that was the first month Call of Duty was available on Game Pass. A brand new Call of Duty on Game Pass. It didn't move the needle at all.
Yeah.
Like,
which we reported on during a podcast as well.
Like, what again? This goes to show that this is an Xbox campaign. No, that's a terrible marketing campaign. And we discussed about like before.
Unless you're a third party publisher.
Yeah. I mean, and I think this pretty much shows that's where they're gonna go. Because there's reports that Microsoft regrets Hellblade being exclusive. There's also now reports that Microsoft's just basically going, everything is either at best a timed exclusive, and And they're only that way because they have studios who weren't prepared for multi-platform development. So those studios are going like, okay,
Yeah.
we're piecemealing it, but like Doom was probably already like because Doom's watching day and day on PlayStation. Outer Worlds is watching day and day on PlayStation now. Those studios before they bought them were prepped for it.
Yeah.
So I know Avowed isn't, and that's probably a quick thing, but Outer Worlds probably been developed long enough. Um, they're probably ready to go. So I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, this is
Avowed is not, but I wouldn't be surprised if Avowed releases in the
shortly
fall
after.
on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, summer or fall for PlayStation for sure.
I think Starfield's imminent. I think anytime.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened already
I,
because I mean, if your console sales are down fucking 30% year over year, why are you not just hitting some big red buttons? I'm surprised that it's not already out. I'm surprised that wasn't a shadow drop at the Game Awards. Like honestly.
yeah. Um, and I don't say all this because again I hate Xbox and that. I mean I would still probably I bought the PS2 over the 360 back in the day, so I would still primarily play on PlayStation. But I mean, back then I mean I still bought the 360 because they were still competing. Um, so and things were healthier back then. I but I say I do all this because the competition is good, but Microsoft's not a competitor anymore. They're not trying to be.
Yeah, they really
And
are.
at this point, I would rather just Xbox go away on the off chance somebody else can come in and be a competitor because it's clearly not going to be Microsoft. So they're just, in a sense, they're just being a roadblock for another person who could be.
I don't think there could be any. I don't think there could be anybody in there. I think the lines have been too entrenched for too long.
It's possible. Um, I'm not saying it's likely someone else could be. I'm more like a there's like maybe a 20% chance someone else could do it. I think there's a 0% chance Microsoft can do it though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So it's just a very slight. I mean, ultimately, I think the lanes. You're right. The lanes have been decided. High end is PC, so middle range is Sony. Low end is Nintendo. And I think that's where everyone's kind of putting themselves into.
Yeah.
Um, but still, I mean, if there was going to be some sort of competition, it's not coming from Microsoft. They clearly are waving the white flag. They just for some reason want to drag out the process, but the white
Because
flag is up.
I think back to the last time somebody left the industry, console maker wise, it was Sega, and it took like 7-ish years of fuck ups before they decided, okay, 7+ years of fuck ups, and then Sony's immense success to be like, okay, we're fucking cooked. Because I mean, they rocketed out of the gate with Sega Genesis, up against the
No.
SNES, like blow for blow marketing. They ended up still losing, but like they made their name known. But then, between the 32X and the Sega CD, Sega Saturn, fucking nobody knew about it here in the States, into the Dreamcast, and then they even bungled that launch like 7+ years of fuck ups. And they were like, "Yep, we're fucking cooked." All the while, Nintendo's growing, Sony fucking explosive growth. Um, it's like, yeah, okay, our goose is cooked. Fucked. I think Xbox competed more than that. I do think they do have a potential to bring it back.
But they
But
do if they make
but
different decisions, but their decisions they're not making.
yeah, I think you cut your console business. You focus solely on PC and third party.
Mhm. I mean, yeah, I think that's what their future's going to be. I mean, I think they'll always have a PC focus because they own Windows. And Bethesda games are, and they own Bethesda, and those games are always more primary PC games than
Uh,
console games. Um, so they'll leverage that. COD is played a lot on PC nowadays over console. Although console's pretty heavy.
I think what you do
Um,
is you transition the Xbox brand into kind of like a PC brand, basically.
mm,
I think so there's rumors floating around that they're working on like a PC esque, Steam Deck esque handheld console. I think that's great. I think you also make high end PC consoles. So something
like,
kind of like the Steam machines, where they
mhm.
have like a built-in OS that allows you to like go to Steam and go to Epic Games, but it's all in an Xbox OS type thing. I think that's the next evolution of Xbox. Pricing yourself maybe like higher than than
PlayStation.
PlayStation, but pricing yourself lower than like high end PCs as kind of like an entry point into PCs.
Yeah, I could see them doing that. But yeah, no, I think they're not going to remain in the console business as they are. It's just the white flags are being raised.
Yeah.
You can't release COD as a day and date Game Pass game and then still have a 30% decline while your opponent has a 15% increase. Like it's
Yeah.
the writing's on the wall.
And even further nail in the coffin, best selling top 20 best selling games in November 2024. Sony's in there 3 different times. 13th for Astrobot, 14th for Spider-Man 2, and 15th for Silent Hill, not published by Sony, but it is a PS5 exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Top 24, top 20 games of 2024 year to date. Helldivers is still third, and Spider-Man 2 is 20th. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, again, not published by Sony, but it is a PlayStation 5 exclusive, is ranked 15th. So it's just like you don't have any games in the top 20 because nobody's buying your games.
And then they also have Call of Duty outselling on PlayStation versus the Xbox. Like it's again, my biggest wish is they just rip the Band-Aid off, but they just want to drag us out for some reason. But they're a third party.
It's because they still want people to buy the Xbox so they can get them into Game Pass and stuff like that. That's why they're hesitant to rip off the Band-Aid, even though it just fucking needs to be ripped off. Because they stand to make so much more money by ripping off the Band-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
Enough about them. So we went to the Game Awards. Sony's Astrobot won Game of the Year at the Game Awards, and for the most part, it was exciting news. People were happy. Definitely happy that Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree didn't win. Personally, I was disappointed because I was rooting for Metaphor personally, but I was glad to see Astrobot win. But let me tell you, there's some people that are not happy. Primarily Game Science, the developers of Black Myth Wukong. Shortly after the Game Awards presentation, it was reported that the devs were quite upset at Astrobot winning. Looking at the Polygon article, Black Myth Wukong's producer seemed pissed off he didn't win Game of the Year. Says he wrote his acceptance speech 2 years ago.
Arrogance of that.
Yep. Feng Ji, CEO of Chinese developer Game Science and producer of the hit game Black Myth Wukong, reflected in a post on Weibo, which is a Chinese social media site. He acknowledged that he was glad that the game won Best Action Game and Player's Voice categories, which were the 2 awards that Black Myth Wukong won, but expressed his disappointment and confusion at losing Game of the Year and admitted writing his speech 2 years ago. He goes on to say, the 4 nominations, Best Action Game, Best Art Direction, Best Game Direction, and Game of the Year, were a first for a Chinese game, which is true. Yet, I must admit, there is a sense of loss and regret. More than anything, though, there is letting go of illusions. The games nominated this year were all exceptional, but honestly, I still can't figure out what the criteria was for the Game of the Year. He then goes on to say, I felt like I came all the way here for nothing because he flew to LA for the Game Awards. He then goes on to say, since last night, I've seen a lot of strong dissatisfaction and frustration in players' comments, often expressed humorously or ironically, which made me laugh. I completely understand these feelings and share the frustration because behind these emotions lies not pain or malice, but dignity and confidence. When you're so confident, yet you don't receive the recognition you expected, it's only natural to feel upset. In fact, I wrote my Game of the Year acceptance speech 2 years ago, only to never get the chance to deliver it. I disagree.
That is,
I fully support being proud of the work that you put out.
yeah, that's fine.
And by all accounts, Game Science should be proud. 200 million players or something like that. 2 million players, I think. Actually, 2 million players concurrently playing Black Myth Wukong at that time it's released. That's monumentously huge. Being the first Chinese game to be nominated for 4 different awards, including Game of the Year, super spectacular. But the fact of the matter is, of all of the nominees, including Shadow of the Erd Tree, Black Myth Wukong was the lowest rated game.
Black Myth Wukong is not just a low game at 6. Black Myth Wukong is the lowest rated game to ever be nominated for Game of the Year
Yes.
at the Game Awards.
Yes.
There were games that were higher rated that were not, like Tekken 8, like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth, Persona 3 Reload. You should have been grateful that he got nominated.
Yes.
But
Yes.
no, he wants to be arrogant. So he wrote his speech 2 years ago when no one even knew what was going to be nominated. What was the possibility to come out this year? Like, what if Baldur's Gate 3 got delayed?
It came
You really think you were going to beat that? Because you never know in this industry. Things can get delayed.
Yeah.
So if you were against, I love Astrobot, but if Baldur's Gate came out this year instead of last year, Baldur's Gate would have been walking away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have some humbleness, dude. You never know. Thousands of games released every year. One wins.
Yeah,
To think
you're like you should just be glad that you're nominated because it's a huge step, and you still won awards as well. They won Best Action Game and Player's Choice Award essentially. So, like,
I don't
come on.
understand the criteria. I don't understand the criteria. It's a voting panel. You were nominated. The jury voted. They didn't vote for you. They thought other games were better. That's the criteria. It
Yeah.
really isn't that hard to understand.
Astrobot not only is a fantastic platformer, but it's a celebration of PlayStation's 30 years worth of history in the industry.
Like
You just got here.
like it was Astrobot was the highest rated game this year for Remove Shadow of the Erd Tree, but you should because it's DLC. But so that leaves Astrobot as the highest rated game this year. Like, it really isn't that much of a surprise it won. And for some reason, people act like this game was the second coming, and it's not. It's a good game. Not saying it isn't, but it's a good action game. Like, Stellar Blade's a good action game. I wasn't saying it should be winning game of the year anytime soon.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't as a game. Yeah, what you did was pretty modest. First Chinese game nominated, and I should be proud of that. But as a game itself, it has some misses, and that's okay. That's fine. The fact that you got nominated on your first try is something to be proud of.
Yeah.
You still have ways to go. Although at this point, I don't really care. I'm not gonna play Black Myth Wukong because of this. Now, wasn't really on my radar now, but now it's on the list of I'm good. Pass. Like, we're just gonna be arrogant like that and shit on other people who are in the industry. I mean, shit on people, especially with that team of Sobi, who has shown how passionate they are about just making people happy and honoring PlayStation's legacy. To be shitting on them, like, nah, you're not. That ain't cool, bro.
Well, not only that, but so because of this outrage, people have gone on to Baldur's Gate 3's pages and review bombed because CEO Sven was the one that announced the award, which is also just crazy.
Because they also thought that speech he gave was talking directly, like, he was referring to Black Myth Wukong. Like, no, it wasn't.
No, he was talking about like Bungie and Microsoft and all of those kind of crazy.
Yay. Yeah, like, he wasn't shitting on your game. Like, again, attacking Larian, of all people.
Yeah.
Of all studios. Like, come on. You're attacking Team Asobi and Larian. Like, these guys who have done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that type of attitude just irks me. And I'm like, nah, you've moved from, possible to my shit list, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just sad. I mean, like it's like I said, it's one thing to be confident and to be proud of your game and hope that you win. It's a whole other thing to say that you should win.
Yeah, when by all accounts, no, you shouldn't have.
Because here's my thing about it too. Here's my thing about it too. Black Myth Wukong is just another Souls like in a sea of Souls likes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Metaphor, a new reinvention on the turn-based formula with great visuals and great music. Astrobot, fun and inventive platformer celebrating 30 years worth of history while also like not getting bogged down by it. It's still its own thing. Balatro, a crazy, inventive, new, fun card game
Made by one dude.
made by one dude. Um, the Elden
Tom
Ring
Hanks
DLC, a fantastic DLC off of a universally praised game. And then who am I forgetting?
Final Fantasy Rebirth.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The second entry in a fantastic, wide-sweeping reimagining of one of the greatest stories in video games ever told. So we have 5 really inventive, creative new things, and one that's trying to be like so many other things, but still thought that they should win. Like, come on. Like, be proud of your Chinese culture. Be
Yeah.
proud that you got the game here. Be proud of all those things. But at the end of the day, you are a Souls-like in a sea of Souls-likes.
Yeah. Like, and there was issues. Like, there was invisible walls apparently everywhere in the game. Again, now we're kind of criticizing your game because you brought this upon you.
Yeah.
But because if you would have not said anything, just grabbed, hey, good guys for Team Asobi. We want to try and win, but they did a good job this year, and we're proud of them. You would have said that, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I wouldn't be trying to highlight your negative. But now you want to play this game. Now I'm gonna go, well, here's why actually you shouldn't have won.
Yeah. I mean, it's thing, especially when your actions cause great dev studios to catch strays. Like Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't deserve anything but praise.
Mm-hmm.
That game is probably the closest our industry will ever get to a near perfect game, probably ever. Honestly, I feel like that's a once in a century type thing. With its levels of immersion and choice and freedom. So like Larian doesn't deserve it. They're the greatest studio of all time. Like, come off of it. Hopefully, for whatever Game Science is working on next, hopefully they'll have a little bit of a humility check, because they kind of
You
need it.
kind of need it.
Like, your game is just one of many.
Like, honestly, now because of this. Now I'm really feel like, yeah, maybe Like a Dragon should have been nominated instead.
Fun real life twist on turn-based formula with a very very endearing cast of characters and a really really heartwarming story. Like, Infinite Wealth, I'll sing its praises every day. Middle-aged men doing middle-aged men things, baby.
A series for you.
Can't wait for Pirate Yakuza. So let's get into a personal addiction of mine. Trading card game Pocket, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket. I've talked about it a couple times on the show. Fucking love it. It's Pokemon trading cards, but you can still play the card game, and it's like an abridged version of the card game. It's very very fun. They just had the expansion set released this week with 80 new cards. That's been super fun. Changed up the meta a whole bunch. And I'm not the only one that says this, because in basically a month, it has generated over $200 million worth of sales. Pokemon will never die.
We gotta catch them all. I had a feeling it would do pretty well because if people just can keep a digital card collection on their phone, well, now
Well,
that's
so this isn't the first time they've done the trading card game in a mobile form, um, which is interesting. This is just like kind of like an abridged form of it, and they just really kind of went out of their way to make it feel like the real thing, like with the pack openings that actually like has an animation of ripping off the top of the pack and stuff like that. Um, and the fact that it's so accessible, it's an abridged version of the card game, so you don't necessarily have to be good at deck building to get by. Like, you can but if you are good at deck building, like, you'll probably go pretty far. That's one of my favorite things to do, is build new decks and try them out in battles. But the fact that they give you free packs every single day, I think that's really the thing that's drawing people in. Like, they're giving you your first taste for free, and then you get to
good old first hits free.
I mean, hey, it works. It fucking works. It fucking works. They're doing events almost every single week with like promo cards or battle events where you can earn special emblems. It's just a really fun thing. I think it's gonna sink its that it's hooks into people pretty good. Um, Digital card games are all the rage right now. I have a ton of friends that play Magic the Gathering Arena. Uh, Hearthstone has always been like a household name. So I think this is Nintendo's Marvel Snap. Nintendo's trying to get in on that. Well, Pokemon Company is trying to get in on that by putting Pokemon in that same space.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, there's other games that you said that were successful in that space, so I'm not surprised. That Pokemon's taken off now. Like
Yeah,
that, this makes sense. It fits.
yeah. So your
I'm not.
decks are only 20 cards. So each battle lasts maybe 5 to 10 minutes. 10 if it's like really fucking competitive. But like, yeah. So it's nice. It's great. It's a good time waster. I love playing it.
Yeah, I'm not one to play games on my phone, so I won't be picking it up. But I'm not. Again, there's a lot of people who are, and I'm not surprised it's taken off. The market very clearly has a space for it.
Yeah. And
Um,
I'm also a big fan of the Pokemon card art. I think
yeah,
that's one of the features that kind of like goes underrated. And so, it's really special when you pull a card out and it has this kick-ass art behind it. Like this is one of the rare Mew cards
okay. Yep, there
in
we
the
go.
set.
There we go.
It's just a beautiful card, and you can kind of interact with the card and move it around, and
That's neat.
it's just yeah, it's just a super fun game across all aspects of it. And so making $200 million, not a surprise. That thing's gonna move money
As
because
Pokemon always does, it's always rolling around in cash.
yep, yep. Honestly, like everybody jokes about like Amazon buying the world or Walmart or whatever. Like I feel like Pokemon companies just like hoarding money and they're just gonna come out and own everything.
Just can't use that money to make sure the games work.
Well, no, we can't do that. Fuck that. No.
I think you
Speak
can dig in there.
Speaking of working Pokemon games, let's talk a little bit more about the Switch. It is no surprise that it is fucking old as dirt. And so we are on the cusp of Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
And this week we got some more information about Switch 2 from an unlikely source, D Brand, which is an accessories company. They make cases and stuff like that. Released a video of a case that is the dimensions of the Switch 2. So we got a ton of information uh, about the next Switch. And so, normally we don't talk about leaks or rumors. We try not to, at least, but like this has some pretty clear backing evidence. Coming from a reputable source. So they released footage of the Kill Switch 2 case, which is like a hard body case. And we get to see a lot of stuff about the Switch 2. So it looks very similarly sized, except just a little bit bigger. There's an extra button underneath the home button on the right Joy-Con. Um, and what strikes me most is that the Joy-Cons are a lot beefier. They raise up off of the screen a little bit on each side, and they also have a more rounded back to them. And it all just looks a little bit more rounded, very close to one Steam Deck. So
Yeah,
I think that they are trying to make it fall a little bit closer in line with the ergonomics that we see in these PC handhelds like the Steam Deck and ROG Ally.
yeah. The rumors, there's some other rumors, and again, they're all leaks. But we're getting closer to the announcement of this thing. These things are being manufactured as well, not probably not to speak, but you know what I mean. They're being manufactured.
Mm,
Um, it does sound like another thing is like the Joy Cons themselves, instead of sliding into position, they're magnetic.
yep, yep. No more rails.
Which that's not a bad idea. Um, and
I
apparently,
just
like
I
this,
I just need to know how the magnets are fixed on there, because I just think of some kid swinging it around by the Joy Cons and then sending his whole console off. So they have to be pretty strong magnets or have some kind of locking mechanism. But I'm glad to see that the the rails are gone.
yeah. They also said the sticks are like Hall effect sticks. I think I read.
Yes. Yep. So no stick drift this time around because they use magnetic contact points. So that would be huge if they are, because that'd be the first console maker that's used them.
Makes
Uh,
sense. Um, and then I mean the rest of it's just normal stuff. It there are some rumors we don't know just yet. But the rumors are starting to swirl around. This thing just is called the Switch 2.
yep.
Um, which like you said the case was called the Kill Switch 2 case.
Hmm.
Like it's probably what the device is actually called. D-Brand's calling it the Switch 2 case. Like, which is gonna be a first for Nintendo. No, they usually never number a system. Usually just call it some like. I mean, there was the Nintendo Entertainment System 2 is a Super Nintendo.
Yep.
Um,
I do wish they would go
so
with Super Switch, but that's just me.
I think I know why. If this is the case, I kind of have a guess why they don't want to rock the boat
Yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
The Wii U made them scared to do weird names because no one knew what it was, and they do not want a repeat of that. They want it to be apparent this is the successor to the Switch. And Sony has a pretty good way of showing that. Just throw a number on it that signifies it's the next generation and call it a day. That's how iPhones do it. So I'm not surprised. Don't be fancy. Call it a Switch 2 and put out the door.
According to Dbrand, it'll be larger and taller than the Switch OLED, but roughly the same thickness. So, not too bad there. Still have the kickstand in the back. Says that uh, it's under the understanding that the Joy-Cons are magnetically attached with an ejection button that's on the back of the Joy-Cons near the top. There's the second button underneath the home button. It has a C on it. So could be like a capture button or anything like that. But who knows? So Dbrand knows a lot about it, but is genuinely unsure of its potential release date. Um, it will be obviously revealed before April, because that's what the CEO of Nintendo said himself.
I I think yeah. Go ahead.
Uh, it looks like that there's going to be a second USB-C port on it. It'll be on the top of the Switch.
Huh.
Uh, so that if essentially you can plug it in while it's in tabletop mode.
Oh,
Maybe
smart.
hook in like an extra controller when it's in the dock. Those kind of things. I think that's really cool. I love top side charger ports. I think that they're great. Steam Deck has one and it's very nice. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much everything about it that's revealed from the Dbrand.
I
The
think
Dbrand
that
leak or reveal, I
I
should say.
think I think the reveal is gonna be next month. I'm gonna put betting month
That's the rumor.
because I think because of the D brand stuff that's gonna move timetables up because once this stuff starts leaking, a tidal wave follows it. So you might as well get out in front of it.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
on compounding with this, there was another leaker on Reddit that
I've
claims to
heard
have
about that.
insider not. Yeah, that claims to have insider knowledge that says that they ha- thought about releasing the Switch 2 this year, but held off so that they could ramp up production because they want you to be able to walk into a store and just buy one and not have to fight scalpers or bots or anything like that.
I mean, I appreciate that. I hope that's the case because I want to buy one as soon as I can.
Yes.
Um,
And it would be something that's not really ever done in the industry before is making sure you have the stock before you ship.
Plug the market
Um,
before.
yep. And I mean, it will do its effect and cut down on scalpers and bots.
It's not like they all won't sell those units. They know those units will sell. If they effectively label up this is the Switch 2, which everyone will nudge, oh, better Switch. Okay. And the Switch is still selling like hotcakes, so yeah, so they'll sell. That's a smart play. I know I've heard some rumors they're also concerned. I hate to bring politics up, but they're concerned about the incoming administration's tariffs and freaking the price of the device. They're trying to manufacture more and get some more over here that they won't be affected by those
Yeah.
if they do get put into place. So
Also, the leaker on Reddit said that the Switch 2's logo will just literally be the Switch logo with a giant 2 next to it. So, seems like they're trying to keep it exceptionally simple.
They're
Uh,
playing. It's very odd for him to play it safe, but I get it.
yeah. I mean, you're coming off of potential. You're coming off of one of the greatest consoles of all time in terms of sales. There's no reason to rock the boat because as long as you slap a 2 on it, any Switch owner will just go buy a Switch 2, especially since you've already said that it's backwards compatible.
Yeah.
So, lots of times that lack of backwards compatibility is what holds people off from buying day one. My Switch games play on the Switch 2? Fuck yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
I'm ready to go. I mean, like
Yep.
you're telling me this. I have in a tablet the power of a system that run Uncharted 4. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Like I can't ask more than that, honestly. So
And the final rumor that the Reddit leaker said that Mario Kart 9 will be a launch title.
smart. If that's true, that's brilliant. Absolutely
If it's
brilliant.
true, that is nail and coffin. Like that's everybody's been waiting for a Mario Kart 9. Mario Kart 8 is 10 years old now. Over 10 years old. So 10 and a half years old.
Functionally close to half of Switches sold has Mario Kart 8.
Yep.
Like, of course you want to launch with Mario Kart 9. It's like, I mean, the rumor I also says there's gonna be 3 versions, like a gray, a white, and one that's Mario Kart 9 themed.
Yep.
Um, that Mario Kart 9, if this all plays out, that Mario Kart 9 one is going to be the one that's hard to find.
Yeah, probably. 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 But yeah, I guess I mean we will obviously report on any Switch 2 news. Don't have to worry about that. You know, if they do announce a reveal, we probably will do a live reaction video to that one. So keep eyes on the
And
channels. Perfect time to subscribe if you haven't to keep up to date with that kind of stuff.
And we will try to be part of the rat race to get one
As
when they
much
get released.
as much as this year has been me shitting on my Switch, essentially, I do absolutely still love my Switch, just not as much as I love my Steam Deck, just because of its age.
But will you be in the rat race?
Shiny new Switch? Hell yeah, let's go. I'll sign up for that all day, every day. Let's do it. But yes, just waiting on the next Steam Deck. That's what I'm really waiting on. But yeah, Switch 2, we're right around the corner. Which makes the fact that the Switch only dropped 3% year over year still crazy because everybody knows it's right around the corner right now. So, but people are still wanting to play Mario Party and Mario Kart and all that shit. So, but figure we'd end this episode with some more Game of the Year conversation. This is the time of year where everybody announces their Game of the Years. Obviously, Game Awards went to Astrobot. Golden Joysticks went to
Because they're fans. Golden Joystick went to Black Myth Wukong, I believe.
Yeah. So everybody's getting in on the hype. IGN just released their best game of 2024, and I thought we'd look at it and discuss it a little bit. Honorable mentions that they gave: Rise of the Golden Idol, which is a sequel to The Case of the Golden Idol. I haven't played either of these games. Apparently, they're very good if you like classic point-and-click mystery adventure games. Infinity Nikki was another one of their honorable mentions. It is a big series overseas where you change into different dresses to get different powers. So apparently they're pretty big fans of it. Silent Hill 2, doing what nobody thought it would and actually remaking the beloved horror classic in a good way. Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, a game that I have not gotten to play yet, but if you like Metroidvanias, it's apparently very, very good. Unfortunately, Ubisoft Montpellier will not be doing another one because they canned the sequel pitch. Black Myth Wukong was an honorable mention. So interesting there. Animal Well, Donkey's First, literally made by one studio, has atmosphere for days. And so now we get into the runner-up category. So these are games that were basically in their top 5 but didn't win. Indiana Jones: The Great Circle was their first runner-up. I've played a few hours of it and I'm loving it so far. It just nails Indiana Jones. So if you got Game Pass or PC, pick it up. It's really really good. Runners up, Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Both of us haven't played it yet.
I haven't played Naira's Put on a Hill either, so I mean,
Yeah. But this is a Zelda game.
true, true.
um, very very popular. We've talked about it on the show. Both of us are kind of holding off on that one because there's some performance issues on base Switch. So maybe Switch 2 stuff for that one. Good game to fill out the backlog when there's not too many Switch 2 games, I think.
True, true.
Helldivers 2 was another runner up. So good. So much fun. Not surprised to see it there. Runner up, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm hoping to get to that before our Game of the Year video. Me finishing up Dragon Age means that my 2024 gate is now open. So I'm gonna try to see if I can't finish Indiana Jones and Final Fantasy before then. So we'll see.
I won't be able to. I'll guarantee I'll get Metaphor and Dragon Age done. Those will get done before we do a Game of Years. My hope is I'm gonna try and get those two done. If I have enough time, slide in Hill.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I also restarted Witcher 3 because Witcher 4 got me hyped. So I'm gonna slowly replay through that. And it's already been fantastic. It's one of the greatest games of all time. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, runner up. Astrobot was a runner up. Obviously, it won Game Awards Game of the Year, but everybody has high praise for it. Dragon Age: The Veilguard was another runner up.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, nice idea. Thank you.
Can't say its praises enough. They went on to say in their little thing about it, I feel like it's important to read since we've kind of been seemingly the only ones singing Dragon Age's praises. It's not unfair to say that this. It's not unfair to say this is the best BioWare. But it's not unfair to say this is the best a BioWare game has ever played. From its sword and sorcery combat to even the way you traverse the myriad of dungeons and mystical locales. While we're only one game into the BioWare Renaissance, all eyes are back on the storied studio. Which I agree. I agree. Runner-up, Balatro.
Fair.
It's so fucking good. I mean, how can you not? If you have not played Balatro yet, $10 on your phone right now. Don't play it on the toilet because you'll never leave the toilet. Just go and buy Balatro. It's so fucking good.
It's on your phone. So even if you, I mean, obviously,
do you not have phones?
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say, but even if like, I mean, if you're watching this channel, you're probably like, someone who plays a lot of video games like we do. But if you're someone like an older person who doesn't play that much game, it's you buy Balatro on your phone. That's even a person your grandpa can play.
Yeah, it's true. Just with a little bit of teaching, yeah, even your grandpa can play Balatro. And their winner was none other than Metaphor ReFantazio.
I mean, I can't argue with that. I mean, before the Game Awards, I said the winners. The three tickets punched automatically were Final Fantasy, Metaphor, and Astrobot, and the winner would be one of those three. And in Astrobot's case, it won at the Game Awards. So Metaphor winning over here makes sense too.
Yep.
Like, I'm literally playing it right now before we started the podcast. It's literally paused on my TV right there. As soon as we're done, I'm going back to playing it. It's so good.
Yep.
It's so good.
I want to read a couple things from this little blurb here because I think it's relevant. For years, Atlus's cult RPG Persona went from being a cool underground RPG series from Japan to one of the biggest franchises in modern gaming. But with Metaphor ReFantazio, it's clear the developers behind Persona were seeking to push themselves to new heights. Trading in the modern-day Japanese high school setting for a pure fantasy world full of long-eared knights and bat-like ninjas, Atlus's Studio Zero has created an incredible and timely meditation on political strife and demagoguery, which I cannot agree with more.
I know. There's this game. This game's political undertones permeate it throughout the entire experience. But it does it in an incredible way.
Yeah.
There are times where the story goes, even it's like just in like the the social links, gets very emotional because just
Mhm.
the things that happen in this world, and it's like that.
Yes.
It's I mean, some of the things that are happening are awful because
And
there's
you
awful
haven't
things
even
that happen.
gotten to the twists yet.
Yeah, but I mean, it's it's even one that pulls in your heartstrings.
Yep.
All the characters are well written. Um, I mean, there's really not even much negative I can say about it. I mean, the only negative I think I could say maybe, and I'm pulling at hairs, is the protagonist is a little one note. Yeah, he's a super nice guy. I like that I like that he's
Hold on to that thought.
vo-
You haven't got to one of the twists yet.
okay. Where I'm at now. I like how he's voiced, but like comparing like Ringo is actually the first like voice Atlas protag, and she's like so snarky. So I wish we didn't kind of took a step back from someone who actually had personality to someone who doesn't seem like they have a whole lot of personality. Although maybe that'll
Dude,
change
just just
apparently.
just hold on to that thought. Just hold on to that thought. Just hold on to that thought. I what I like about Metaphor's story is like this is kind of Studio Zero growing up a little bit because
Oh,
Persona is
it,
literally just a group of teens with some attitude fighting the corrupt adults of the world. That's literally all the Persona games
yeah,
are.
yeah.
And
I mean, they do have poignant points to them, but there is
yes,
a younger perspective to them
yes,
because they're teenagers. I mean, a mechanic of the game is literally taking tests because you have to go to school.
yes. And
This
so it feels like there's always a ceiling that Persona can't break out of because of that setting. And so Metaphor is them breaking that ceiling essentially, because I mean the subjects that Metaphor gets into are really wide reaching and prevalent, and again,
Mhm.
you haven't even seen all of them yet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that necessarily Persona has a ceiling. It's just not where it was going for because of its setting. I mean, there is a character. I won't want to go into sports. So I won't say who because you should play the game. But there's a character who deals with a parent's grief. That's not something Persona can tell because they're all teenagers.
Yeah.
Um, so well, not directly. There are characters probably who can do that, but they're not like a character you can take control of. But the character in this game, a partner is dealing with that. So there are mature things since they are dealing with adults. And to me, there's pros and cons to each formula. But because they locked themselves to teenagers in high school for so long, they could never do what was over here.
Yeah.
But this just shows they can do both.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say that the metaphor's perfect because it's not. I do
No,
think that
no game is.
some of the story decisions that they made are somewhat formulaic, but it doesn't change the fact that I think Studio Zero has got some of the best writers in the industry. They do. I think I can say they do the best character work in the industry. Because I mean, all of the characters, Persona 3, Persona 4, Persona 5, Metaphor, I want to max out everybody's confidants because I want to know their story because they've made an impact on me. And Metaphor, no different. I like the changes that they kind of made to the calendar formula because I was actually able to accomplish everything except for one side quest. I maxed out all my confident ratings and I did every side quest except for one. And if I would have,
Nice.
and I could have done it if I managed my time more effectively and maybe cheese some boss fights. But
I mean, still, I mean,
yeah,
it's that if you only have one side quest unfinished, that's for a game like this on your first go through, that's pretty good.
yeah.
And
So
knowing Atlas fashion, there's still going to be a enhanced version of Metaphor Fantasio.
I'd settle for some just DLC. Honestly,
True.
I don't think that there's any game mechanics that really. Excuse me. I don't think there's any game mechanics that really need cleaned up.
No, but I mean, that's just Atlas's MO to do things that way. So I would bet money that we'll get like an enhanced version of the game of
And
1
and we'll be there day one, and I'll play through it a fucking again.
point.
And then we'll wait for
Same.
5 months for Nick to finish it for our review. And the world will continue to turn. But anyways, I think that's gonna wrap us up here. Lots of good stuff. Congrats to Metaphor for winning IGN's Game of the Year. That's fantastic. I'm sure that it's not the only Game of the Year nomination that Metaphor is going to get. With the BAFTAs down the line and the DICE Awards, still plenty of award season to go. Still plenty of opportunities for Metaphor and maybe Black Myth Wukong to win one. Maybe winning a BAFTA or a DICE Award will calm down game science a little bit, and we can stop fucking review bombing Baldur's Gate 3. But anyways, let us know in the comments who's your front runner for Game of the Year right now. I mean, is it Benefor? Is it Dragon Age? Is it Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth? I might be the only one that gives Infinite Wealth anything this year, and that fucking sucks. Let us know who's your front runner so far. What games do you still have in your backlog for this year that you're trying to get to? I'm sure everybody's got something that they have not been able to play. Poor Zelda. She finally gets her own game, and we don't get to play it.
And I'm looking right now like poor Cloud. Poor Cloud.
Yeah, poor Cloud. I got to get back to Cloud. PS5, are you still working? You there? You have to be resurrected to play a game. Your one game a year. And I'll probably fit Astrobot in there too. I can finish Astrobot pretty quick. My year's been efficient. Your year's not so much.
These past few months a little busy, but you know, hopefully
I'm gonna do a little bit of a humble brag. Normally it's been a struggle to get games done, but thanks to the Steam Deck and some things, I've gotten quite a lot of games done. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 games this year that I have finished.
Nice.
Or have played enough of to talk about. So, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Persona 3 Reload, and the episode I Guess DLC. Tyrion Cuthbert, I did finish that this year. Balatro, Princess Peach, Gestalt, Steam and Sender, Pal World, Destiny 2 Final Shape, Thank Goodness You're Here, Marvel Midnight Suns, Plucky Squire, Paper Mario, Metaphor, Neva, Dragon Age Veilguard, and Marvel Rivals. Playing a shit ton of video games. Let's go.
I mean, I sent you before. I think before last episode, the PlayStation does their wrap up stuff, and it showed me my top 5 games played of the year. And like 5 was Metaphor at 45 hours. Tekken 8 was at 57 hours. Tie with Dragon Age was 57 hours. Teleblade was 2 at 74. And this is the problem I have. Fortnite was at 414.
Yep. Actually, this will be fun to look at. See if it's actually working this time. Okay, cool. So the Steam replays are out.
Oh, no.
We're going to go live over Mind. Okay. So 60 games played this year, which was 23 more than last year.
All right.
492 achievements unlocked, which is 203 more than last year. 16% played with mouse and keyboard, 84% with controller. Steam Deck.
I wonder if that includes.
Yeah, I think it includes Steam Deck. Well, for action adventure games, though, I do play with controller on my PC. Persona 3 Reload, 14% of my playtime with 232 PlayStations. Infinite Wealth, 10% of my playtime with 99 sessions played. Metaphor ReFantazio, also 10% of my playtime with 88 sessions played. So I guess those are my top 3. How I compare. Oh, so 492 achievements. The Steam median is 13. 60 game played. The Steam median is 4. My longest streak was 52 days. Steam median is 6. Oh my god, I have an addiction. 65% of my playtime was for new releases, which makes sense. The percentage of playtime spent by all Steam users in new releases was only 15%, so I'm well above the curve there. Type of games that you play is a spider graph, and my JRPG thing is off the spider graph.
They know what you are.
That's really funny. We're getting into some game
Gabe, Gabe,
specifics
Gabe,
here.
Gabe Newell is judging you.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Veilguard was 6% of my total play get time. Marvel Midnight Suns was 7% of my total play time. Those rounding out my top 5. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here's some since I played on more than one device. Playtime on Windows was 30%. Steam Deck was 70% of my playtime. Number of games played, 28 games played on Windows, 55 games played on Steam Deck. Yeah, most of my playtime was on Steam Deck. No shit. It's my favorite device ever. 28%. So of my total playtime with controller, 28% was with Like a Dragon. I played a lot of that on my PC. 19% was Metaphor, 17% was Dragon Age, 7% was Marvel Midnight Suns, and then 7% was Monster Hunter World. My longest streak was 52 days, Saturday, June 8th to Tuesday, June 30th. During that time, I played 23 different games. Interesting. Interesting. Got to break down by the games I played month by month.
There's also, you have to account for, you play a lot of League of Legends, and that's not counted in Steam.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Oftentimes, I'm playing League of Legends and playing on my Steam Deck at the same time. So, I'm just magical that way. All right, that was fun. Little lighthearted story at the very end there. But that really will do us this time for this episode. Let us know in the comments. Just share some of your Steam stats. Are they as horrific as mine are?
Apparently, no. Most will not, because you're way above the median on most categories.
This is my job. It's fine. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel so that you get all of the news updates, all the reviews. We got our Game of the Year conversation coming up soon. You don't want to miss that. And as always, thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
See you next year. Adios.